Hi, YouTube family. I'm Megan. Thank you for being with me, for practicing with me, for taking care of yourself. And this practice is specific for your neck. I'm going to put in a bunch of different things that I like to do for myself to release and relax the neck. And you may find just a few of them work really well for you. We're going to be doing the first part seated, and I highly recommend you sit in a chair if sitting on the ground isn't comfortable, because if you're fighting your lower body, it's going to be very difficult to release your neck. A few other things you'll want is you will want to have one block, if you have that, for the end of the practice. If you have a slow-mo ball, grab it. If not, we can substitute a blanket. And then also a few little balls. I've got this little soft blue one and a pink one. The smaller, the better, but something about that size. And we'll come into our seated position first. Wherever you are, make some circles on your sits bones at the base of your spine, just to let yourself land. So your neck likes to know where your pelvis is. It also likes to know where your feet are. But right now we're landing on the pelvis. So let your neck feel the sits bones and respond to the movement from your pelvis. Some nice, easy circles. You can do it with eyes opened or closed. You can switch the direction. Imagine if you're sitting on a ball chair. You're just rolling around. And you can feel the way that your head and neck are responding. They're not moving on their own. They're responding to the movement from the pelvis. And then roll yourself to a center position. Let your arms be heavy and relaxed. Place your hands, one hand on the lower lungs, so right by the ribs, and one on the chest, the upper lungs, and see if you can invite your breath into this space underneath your hands. And notice what that feels like. So just the breathing will start to release and relax some of the muscles in the neck, many of them attached to the collarbone. So think of sending that inhale all the way up underneath your collarbones and to the base of the throat. Like you're sipping something nice in. And set your intention for this practice, because there's many reasons we can have pain in the neck or be a pain in the neck. It can be physical, that we had some sort of damage. It can also be emotional. And it can be more energetic. Our throat is how we communicate, how we listen to others, and how we express ourselves. So set your intention based off of that. Anytime you want, you can come back to your breath. And let your hands come down. We're going to explore the left side first. So one of the things we want to check is that take your hand to the base of the skull and lightly press the base of your skull into your hand. So oftentimes, without knowing it, we're head forward. So you want to find that nice alignment. You don't have to hold yourself up. Take a breath in your nose and sigh out your mouth and see where you land. That's it. Nice spaciousness in the front of the throat, but the back of the neck has that natural curve. Let your shoulders fall over your hips. So left side, think of your chin. You could even place a finger on your chin and begin to turn to the left from your chin. As you breathe in, if you want to do it to your breath, breathing out, come back to the center. So just simply turning. This is a little bit of an assessment too. Moving from your chin. Then come back, drop the finger, do one more from your chin. And notice if there's any resistance or tightness. Go as far as you can go comfortably. Now I want you to make that exact same movement, but we're going to map out our skull. So if you feel the bottom of your skull is like if you had a low ponytail, and then draw a line underneath your ears, and your skull ends, the bottom of your skull, right underneath your nose, or you think of the roof of your mouth. So think of the skull. And we're going to move from the skull. So that could be your nose, the roof of the mouth, the base of the skull. But same thing, just turn, let your jaw relax, and move from your skull. So we're letting our brain map out the movement of the neck from the skull. And this yes or this no movement requires the neck muscles to move. One last one. And come back to the center. We're going to switch the movement to a tilt. So feel your left ear over your left shoulder. And as you breathe in, start to dip your left ear to your left shoulder. And sense the shape of the neck. And notice how you're stretching that right side. So when we were turning, we were also stretching the right side a little in a different way at a rotation. And you're just inhaling and dipping your ear to your shoulder. Just see what that feels like. And then we're going to take this into a place where we're going to hold it. But what you can do, if it feels okay, is we want this right shoulder, we want it to be heavy and relaxed. So you could take your left hand behind your back and just grab on anywhere to your right arm, even your lower arm. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't work from the back, you could also grab it from the front here. Just let your left arm relax too. So then tilt your head, hold that right arm so it's heavy, and you're going to feel that space on the top of the right shoulder and then the side of the neck on the right. And begin to slightly bring your head up and down. Think of moving from your skull instead of your chin. So lift your skull up. You could even think of lifting the roof of the mouth. And drop the skull down. Notice as you lift up, you might feel that more in the front of the throat. As you drop down, you'll feel it through the back of the neck, and you may find some sticky points that you just want to hang out there and be in that space. You can do that and be completely still, breathe. Think of sending your energy into those sticky spaces. You can also gently open and close the jaw. So feel the neck all the way into the right jawbone. You could gently nod your head no. Tiny little movements. And then take your ear back over the shoulder. Lift your head back up to the center. Notice the two sides. You can let go of your arm. Yeah, one more we're going to do for that right side. So you're going to turn again to the left. See if that feels different. Now when you're turned to the left, I want you to reach around either hand, and you want to find there's a big muscle. It's about the size of your pinky. It's your sternocleidomastoid, and it starts from behind your ear, but you'll feel it. It feels like a rope in your neck. And when your head is turned to the left, you should feel the one on the right. And you want to find that. And just give that a little rub first. Acknowledge that SCM muscle. And then if you go right behind the SCM, so towards the back of the neck, you can take your fingers, your thumb, and you're going to come all the way down by the collarbone. So there's this triangle shape here. And once you find that, turn your head back to the center and just give it a little massage. So you can use the thumb, you can use your fingers. So this is our scalene, or part of our scalene muscles. And you'll find it may be a little bit tender right in that triangle. So I'm just above my collarbone. If you're feeling your pulse, you need to go further back because that's actually your carotid artery. So you don't want to be on that. And you can even go up, find that SCM muscle again and go up the back side of the SCM with your fingers. Just acknowledging these muscles. I like to go right down in there, inside that triangle of the collarbone. Keep letting your right arm be heavy. You can gently nod or move your head. So the SCM muscle's there for us in the right, as well as the attachment of the scalene right at the collarbone. Just giving a little rub. We'll let that go. If your head's not at center, turn to center. Take a few breaths in your nose, out your mouth, and sigh. And just be present in the two sides of your neck. Noticing what they feel like. Maybe even the skull, the ears, left and right, shoulders, tops of the shoulders. And then feel the right side of your face. You could take your finger to your chin. We'll start from moving from the chin again. And as you breathe in, turn to the right. And notice how the left side of the neck is stretching. And the right side's compressing and then turning back to the center. So the neck muscles do the no movement. Go as far as you can without discomfort. Once you've found the movement from the chin, do a few more from the chin without your finger. Maybe you've noticed a difference in the range of motion, or there's something catchy on one side that wasn't on the other side. So now I want you to visualize your skull again. Do that same movement to the right, but move from your skull. Does that feel different? Because your brain reads it differently. Our jaw is a separate bone from the skull, right? And if we move from the skull, that's where your brain is. You're taking it for a ride. You can pause there anywhere along the way. Move from your nose, the base of the skull, and come back to the center. Now you can feel your right ear and your right shoulder, and as you breathe in, dip the right ear to the right shoulder. Breathe out, come back. So we already elongated and stretched the side out. Now notice what it feels like to compress the right side and the length in the left side. Left arm completely relaxed. You're just dipping your ear. And then eventually we'll stay there. And if you want, you can come to the front to hold your left arm with your right hand, or behind. And just hold that arm, just encourage it to feel heavy. Let the shoulder drop and bring your right ear to your right shoulder. Pause there for a moment. And just make a little yes movement up and down. So yes is less neck muscles. It's really just the skull sliding on the top of the neck. See if you can feel that. Move from your skull. Gentle up and down motions. But you'll get a nice stretch through the back of the left side of the neck as you drop your head forward. More in the front of the neck as you lift up. Find where you need to be. Keep breathing. And then you can pause there. Drop your jaw open. Keep that jaw relaxed. Wherever your head is, bring the ear back over the shoulder. Slowly lift the head back. You can let go of your arm. And then we're going to turn again to the right, using the neck muscles to do that. And then take your left hand or your right and find that SCM, that big pinky sized muscle that comes from the back of your ear, attaches right to the clavicle, to your collarbone, right in here. See if you can find it like a rope. And then once you find that, give that a little loving, give it a little massage. Then we want to work behind it and down right into that collarbone triangle in the scalene muscles. You can use your thumb in there, you could use your fingers, and then turn your head back to the center, usually when you start to rub it. So the scalene muscles are important physically in the neck, but they're also what we call Siromatruka. It's one of our marma points in Ayurveda. And we say if you feel choked up, if you're having a difficult time with emotions or expressing your emotions, these muscles tend to get tight. So this is a nice release for that. You can gently explore moving your head. You can also work your way up the neck behind the SCM muscle, so behind that ribbon of muscle. Just be sure you're not feeling your pulse, you're not on your carotid artery. Just getting to know your neck. Where is, and you'll know if the soreness is in that scalene, you're going to feel it. So just go easy. And we'll come back to the center. Let your hand come down and pause for a moment. So we're going to do 2 more for both sides at the same time, but take yourself back into the balanced position. Check to see your pelvis is still comfortable. If you need to move around, don't hold back. Roll yourself around. And then take a big breath in your nose, sigh out your mouth. let yourself settle. So now we're going to go more what we say is superior. So your outer muscles, which we have what's called your platysma muscles, which attach to the bottom of your chin, and they actually attach to the skin. And they look like a bunch of ropes, little ropes, or like yarn coming down, and they fill the whole front of the throat and come down to your collarbones. So the platysma muscles are actually facial muscles. And if we make a face like we're worried or we're angry, they are the muscles that those are the muscles that help us do that. So those are faces we don't want, and they can contribute to neck pain. So I'm going to have you release those platysma muscles by taking your fingers just below your collarbones, fan them out, and gently pull on the tissue. Just notice what that feels like. And then we're going to bring the nose forward. So instead of dumping the whole head forward, think of elongating the back of the neck and just tilting your chin. So tilt down and then begin to slowly pulling the chest tissue down just below the collarbones. Begin to slowly lift your head up. As you do that, let your jaw drop open. Go as high as you can. And then come back slowly. So you're going to feel that whole front of the neck down to the collarbones getting a nice stretch. You can look down again. So a smile is the opposite. It relaxes these muscles. You can relax the muscles by smiling when you're looking down. And then as you begin to look up and gently pull on the tissue, let the jaw just drop open. Eyes are soft. You can pause there at the top if you want. Even put on a smile. Feel those facial muscles. Breathe to the space right under your collarbones where your fingers are. Bring your head back. So we're also working through Nila, another marma point, which is right in the front of the throat here, creating space around Nila, which is our communicator. Release the hands for a moment. And then we're going to do the back of the neck. So that was for the front of the throat. So when we go in to do the back of the neck, you can absolutely use your fingers, and it's nice sometimes to have that skin to skin contact, but you could also use a little ball. I like this small blue one. That's about the size of a golf ball, but much softer. It's got give to it. So if I was using my fingers, you can do both sides at the same time. You just take your fingers back there. Remember where the SCM muscle is. You're going to go behind that and just massage and feel. Find yourself in your neck. You can even go to the base of the skull. Where does it feel like your skull starts? Follow your fingers around the edge of the skull. Go down the neck. And if that feels okay, you can also try doing one side at a time with the ball. So I usually take the ball, turn it sideways here, and I just roll it across the muscles. I put it in the palm of my hand. Keep that head up, or you can slightly, we're not dropping the head forward, but lengthening the back of the neck. So think tilt from your nose and just rolling. So using the ball probably one side at a time. Across the muscles. You can also go in the direction of the muscles. So you'll find what we sometimes call trigger points, which are just those sensitive areas. You don't have to go on them. Go near them or around them. But I really like this. Again, if you don't have the ball, you could be using your fingers. But that option to go across the muscles in the back there, upper trapezius, among others, and up and down. And then if you did the one side of your neck with the ball or your hand, do the other side. Get a microphone that might want to get in the way. But leave yourself open to, you don't have to keep the head in one particular position. If you decide to bring the head forward, though, it's not whole head dropping forward, putting strain on the neck, but tucking the chin towards the chest, lengthening the neck. Get a little more space back there. Go up and down. You can let your head fall to one side. Mostly you got to get your hair out of there. Relax the tongue in the mouth. All right, and then let that go. We're going to be coming out of our seated position and onto the front of our body. And remember these muscles that we're just releasing and relaxing, because now what we're going to do is we're actually going to activate them a little bit. A lot of times when we have neck pain, if it's physical, it's because we're spending too much time here and with the head forward. So we want to wake up the muscles in the back of the neck, make some space in the front of the throat. But that starts with coming down onto our front side. And once you get there, whatever hand and arm position works best. If you'd rather rest on your chin or your forehead to keep your head at center, at least to start, just let your legs shift side to side in your pelvis. Again, first acknowledging the lower body and finding comfort in the lower body so that we can work with the neck. So this next part is about integrating the muscles in the back of the neck with the upper back and even the muscles deeper down the spine. But if you feel where your shoulder blades are on your backside, feel from your shoulder blades through the neck and the skull, and then notice when you're breathing in. And my arms will stay completely relaxed. And I call this the baby neck cobra. So it's like a cobra pose in yoga. We come way up and people tend to throw their head up like this and stretch their throat. What I want you to do is keep your neck in this neutral position. So either from your chin or from your forehead, find where you have a natural curve in the back of the neck, but the throat is soft. As you feel the breath, there's a buoyancy to the breath, and let that buoyancy slightly lift you up from the collarbones, just a tiny bit. So my gaze is still down at the ground, and exhale. Come back down. So the other thing I'm watching for is, I know for me, my low back and the gluteal muscles like to try to help. I'm going to ask them to be quiet because I want to wake up the muscles in the upper back. And exhale. Come down. The other thing that usually feels nice when we do this baby cobra is breathe in, float the chest up. So breathe under the collarbones, and breathe out. You can turn on to one cheek. Let the cheek gently come down. Release, relax. Inhale, float back up. So when I'm floating, I'm thinking taking the crown of the head forward, lengthening the neck out, as opposed to smushing the back of the neck or compressing the back of the neck. Out long. Exhale, come on to one cheek. Just trying this. If you're finding your arms are trying to help, you could also take the arms to the sides. So feeling the relationship between the neck and the upper back, helping you to lift and completely releasing. And the breath can help you to lift on the inhale and release on the exhale. Can you feel your neck and your back working together, especially the upper back? Do your best to keep the low back relaxed. And float up. Float the collarbones up. You're still looking down at the ground. Let's do one more, an option to hold this last one. So you can inhale, breathe into your chest, float up. Let the shoulders be relaxed. Keep breathing into the chest, just like we did when we were first seated. Noticing the way the buoyancy of the breath will help to keep you up on the inhale. Keeping the back of the neck long, reaching out through the crown of the head. Just waking up the muscles in the back of the neck, upper back. One more breath in. And breathe out. Come down, let it relax. And And we're going to be switching positions onto our backside. So take a moment to see how you want to get there for yourself. Do keep a block handy where you can reach it, and either a blanket or your slow-mo ball. For now, we're just going to come down. So one of the things we look at when we work with the neck is if when you come on your backside, your shoulders are lifted off the ground or your head is way back to where your throat feels like it's stretching, then we know we need just a little bit of a blanket. So that's generally because we've got that roundedness in the shoulders. The way it shows when we come down is it would be like this. So just a little blanket, not a full pillow, but you could put something underneath your head just so it feels like your neck is in more of a neutral position. All right, so give that a try. I'm going to pull that out for myself and then feet to the ground. This is called constructive rest, and I'm lining up my hip, my knee, and my middle toe, and then setting the feet on the ground so that just like there's a natural curve in your neck, you can go back there, feel it again, massage it. There's also a little bit of a natural curve in your low back. So we do what we call arch and curl for the pelvis, but when we want to release the neck, what I like to do is focus on moving from the neck. So feel your nose or the roof of your mouth or your skull. Sense the skull. And as you breathe in, think of tilting the skull towards your collarbones. Just a little bit so you'll feel a little lengthening through the back of the neck. As you breathe out, tilt the skull away from the collarbones. Like you're looking back behind you. You're just sliding your head. Inhale. Feel your throat shorten, the back of the neck lengthen. Exhale, throat lengthens, back of the neck increases the arch. So remembering that this movement is not a movement of the neck muscles, it's more the skull sliding on the top of the cervical spine. And can you sense that? You're just sliding your skull, inhaling towards your collarbones, or now we can think your tailbone, exhaling back and away. So there is a direct relationship between the pelvis and the neck and these two curves. So you have the curve in the low back and the curve in the neck. And they like to do opposites. They play well together by doing opposite things. So as you're bringing your nose or your skull towards your collarbones, tilt your pelvis away from you too. So think tailbone down or maybe lifting the low back. So in other words, as the low back arch increases, the back of the neck is actually going to lose its arch and lengthen. And then take that gaze back again, press that arch in the low back down or lift your tailbone. But move from your head and see if you can get the pelvis to respond. Take the head back. I like to imagine there's a string from my nose to my tailbone. On the inhalation, my tailbone goes down into the ground and forward, and the nose follows. On the exhalation, the nose is going back and the tail follows. Shoulders relax wherever you need your arms to be. Just sliding your skull, using as little muscle as possible, unlike the cobra pose where we could feel the back of the neck engaging. I'm going to take a few more of these. See if the pelvis and the neck want to have a play date and letting the neck lead and the pelvis respond. And then coming to the center position, pause for a moment. You might even take your legs out long or do a full body yawn, reach your arms, reach through your legs. Exhale, sigh, let it go. Let your whole body relax. I'm going to recommend that you go back to knees bent if your legs are long because it just gives your low back more relaxation. However, if you like your legs long, you can do so, but I'd recommend putting a blanket, bolster, something underneath your knees or your thighs to keep that low back relaxed. Otherwise, feet to the floor. You can even let your knees fall together. So we're going to focus again on the left side and just feel your left ear, your left temple, the left side of your face. And as you breathe in, start to roll towards the left ear, rolling towards your left shoulder. And as you breathe out, come back to the center. So we did the seated, right? It's just a no movement to the left. We're going to go just to the left. But now notice the difference with your brain being able to feel the floor. And the floor helps us to heal. So turning to the left as far as you can go comfortably on inhale and back to the center. And can you sense just a little bit of stretch in the right side of the neck and the shoulder? And then what I'm going to ask you to do, and I'll show it on this side, I'll go the opposite way, but you're going to keep turning to the left. And as you turn to the left, think of pressing your right shoulder blade into the ground. You'll create a little more active stretch through that right side. As you breathe out, let the head roll to center, release the shoulder. So find that right shoulder blade, even your collarbone, use those bony landmarks, and take the right collarbone and shoulder blade into the ground as you turn to the left. Pause there to feel it. Exhale, completely release it. So I'm going to go back to doing to the left, but you're turning to the left, pressing right shoulder into the ground. And remember the importance of moving from your skull. Feel your skull rolling through the ground. And you might even get to your last one to left here. Press that shoulder into the ground. Roll. Breathe into the space in the right side of your neck. Relax the left side. So the left side of the neck is compressed, but relaxed. Right side active and long. Exhale, slowly release it a little at a time. Let your head come back to the center. And just pause to feel. Feel the two sides of your neck. Sense the two sides of your face, your right eye, your left eye. We land in the whole body, so whatever's touching the ground. And locate yourself in the right side of the face. Feel your right eye, your right ear will be moving from there. Opening and stretching the left side. So as you breathe in, start to roll your head towards your right ear as far as you can go comfortably. Breathe out, roll the head back to center. The second half of that no movement, using your neck muscles, rolling to one side, shoulders relaxed right now. Just feeling the ground support you. Once you've taken a few rolls to the right, locate yourself through your left shoulder blade that's touching the ground, the left collarbone. And as you roll to the right, press that left shoulder blade and collarbone into the ground. And something I noticed right away is my right side was trying to press down too. So I have to tell it to relax, because otherwise the muscles on the right side of my neck are overactive. Just that left side, push it down. Roll back to the center and release. Using the ground for feedback to push into to create a little more activation and length through the left side of the neck. Breathe out, let it go. Eyes are soft. Moving from anywhere in your skull. The parts that are touching the floor, you could move from your forehead. Maybe taking that last one and holding it for just a moment, pressing the left shoulder blade down, feeling the length, but also the active muscles in that left side. Relax the right side of the neck. Release it all, let go, come back to the center position. So the next one we're going to do is going to be that same movement, but we're going to take the block in. And this is definitely more of a myofascial letting go and releasing the muscles in the back of the neck. So you're going to take the block and it's going to be on its, I say this is Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear. So you're going to go Mama Bear side. If you have a hard block like a wooden one or cork, you may want to put a cloth on top of it because they're pretty hard, but you're going to take it and you're going to find, when we were massaging, we found the muscles, right, at the base of the neck, your upper trapezius muscles. So just like your scalenes, they're big and you can feel, or your SCM muscles, they're big and you can feel them. You can find those trapezius muscles if you take your hands there. You're going to go all the way to the base. You want that block flat. I like to move my hair out of the way. If you've got a ponytail in, you got to take it out. You may have to do a little adjusting, but let that block come right across the bony ridge at the bottom of your skull, and then let your neck hang. Check to see your lower body's relaxed and feels supported. So it feels like you're in a head forward posture, but you're letting your shoulders drop, and your neck is just like a hammock hanging there. And can you do that and feel just that little bit of pressure in the back of the neck, but like a good releasing pressure? Breathe to your upper lobes of your lungs again, under your collarbones, the base of the throat. And then just like we were doing before, but no pressing with the shoulders this time, begin to slowly roll your head to the left. As you roll to the left, you might feel, I'm a little too high, you might feel that ropey ridge. You're going to roll right across. It feels like a rope in the back of the neck on the left side. Go past that and then slowly roll back over that ropey ridge again. Sometimes it almost feels like you get stuck. And go really slow again, rolling over it. Let your brain feel it. Let your eyes feel it. We often hold neck tension because of facial muscles. What kind of faces are we making? Remember that worried face or the angry face. And we'll go one more time to the left, face soft. And this time on your way back, you're going to stop right when you're somewhere on that ropey ridge. So you can be to either side, the left side or the right side, or you could be right on it. I like to be more to the side of it. And just stay there and breathe. Shoulders relaxed. And you can explore the most minute little movements to feel that muscle differently. Breathing into the base of the skull on the left side. Shoulders are heavy, arms relaxed. Feel your tongue just resting in your mouth. There's lots of space in the mouth cavity. Take your last few breaths. And then very, very slowly, there's no hurry, roll back to the center. Once you get to the center, check to see your block is still where you want it, but feel the two sides of your neck, left and right in the back. Notice if there's any difference anywhere in your face, your eyes, your ears, and your shoulders. Our neck has a pretty big job. It's got to carry our big smart brains around, and it also delivers information from the brain to the heart to the brain, and the rest of our nervous system, of course. And now feel the right side. We're going to slowly go that way. So start to roll your head over that ropey ridge to the right. Neck is hanging. And roll back. So this is a self-inquiry to the muscles in the back of the neck on that right side. Is this side more sensitive? Less sensitive? And you're rolling past the ropey ridge. There's no reason to push. Just let the weight of the head fall, neck and shoulders. Next time you take it all the way over to the right, we'll pause. On your way back, find some point on that ropey ridge to just land and breathe. Eyes relaxed, face is soft. And a little bit goes a long way if you adjust it just slightly. Breathe into the back of the neck and the right side and slowly take your head back to the center. So we're going to want to come off that block. When we come off the block, this is a bit almost like a counter pose, but we want to engage the muscles in the front of the throat. So if you think of taking your nose or the bottom of the skull, the roof of the mouth, towards your collarbones, you'll feel your throat. I won't be able to talk once I do it, but you'll feel your throat close off and you want to feel those muscles tighten. So you might even take your jaw down like you're almost like you're making your angry face. Take your jaw down towards your collarbones. Feel the muscles in the front of the throat tighten. And then once you have that, you can slip the block out using those front throat muscles to hold the weight of your head. Slowly release down. Let it go. It's always further down than we think it's going to be. And then once you get down there, feel free to gently roll your head from side to side or do that little arch and curl. Make very slow circles. Let your skull find the ground. And for our final relaxation, if you don't have a slow-mo ball partially filled, you could take a neck roll, and I'll show you that, which would mean we take the blanket and go this way and roll it up. And what you're doing if you're doing the neck roll is you're creating just enough roll to put it underneath the natural curve in your neck, and then the head is resting on the rest of the blanket. And sometimes this is more almost grounding for your neck, which might be what you want and what you need, that neck roll. So that's consideration number one. Number two, I'm going to come up to get my slow-mo ball, and you'll see it's really maybe a third full at the most. What I like to do is let my neck have a little bit of play. So I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to put the ball underneath my skull, not on the neck, but under the skull. So the round part of the back of your head, it just shapes right to that forms right to that shape, one or the other. Wherever you want your legs to be. So you either got the neck roll and you're supporting your neck, or you're letting your head be on the ball. And imagine that ball is like a nice current in the river. And you're just gently moving your head, tiny little movements. If you got the neck roll there, you could do that too. And play with moving your neck from your skull, your nose, the roof of the mouth, the ears, the eyes, all of your doors of perception. The weight of the head completely supported, and when the head knows it's supported by the ground, the neck muscles can relax. And just acknowledging, either with just your thoughts and your awareness, or even with your fingers, the front of the throat, if you want to lightly stroke the front of the throat. That's our Nila Marma. It'd be like the Vishuddha chakra, your throat chakra. Connecting us to the communication center. And we communicate not only verbally and what we say, but also non-verbally. And are you able to express yourself? And the ears are also consideration of the Vishuddha or Nila Marma, and that communication takes two. So our ears are our capacity to be good listeners. And the saying goes, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Before we come out completely, working with the neck and the super highway between the heart and the head. Acknowledge your heart. Acknowledge your heart for all of the energy that it sends to your beautiful brain. And then your brain, in turn, sending all those messages throughout your whole body, whole sensory motor system. But your heart is the fuel for your brain. And we need that two-way communication from heart to brain and brain to heart. And that's the other communication that takes place in the throat. The communication within our own mind and heart. The heart has feelings. The brain has thoughts. On a good day, they agree with each other. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you'd like. You're just breathing into the base of the throat now. Like you're sipping something yummy through your nose. Breathe it right into the base of the throat. If you've got the ball or the blanket, the best thing usually to do is, instead of lifting your neck at this point, just roll to one side. If you're rolling to your left, you could use your left arm as a pillow. Roll onto your side into a fetal curl. You could even rock your body a little bit. Let your head move. And when we're ready to come up, one of the final things is, instead of using the neck muscles to lift the head, use your arms, start to come up, and let your head hang. Think of your head hanging like a ripe melon. And you'll start to come up through the rest of your spine, and then eventually take the heel of one of your hands right to your forehead. Use the strength of your arm like you're lifting your head back up, setting your head on your neck. Your neck is the pedestal. Put it right on there with the strength of your arm. Thank you for joining me for this neck practice. I always appreciate your comments. Remember to subscribe and express yourself. Peace, joy, love, and light.